Hey guys, Can You Charm Us here to be your judge, your jury, and your analyst, and today I bring to you my top 5 teams for the Weather Cup. Mind you, this is just stuff I put together and it ended up, this cup's going to be really chaotic. So these teams are very powerful. What I don't like is that there's a really big XL shadow over the Weather Cup. But a lot of teams I give you here will have a chance against those XLs, or they will have them in them. The first 3 teams are going to be with the XLs that are pretty much not really unobtainable, but you must have done a lot of XL candy trade, or you know that little thing called defit, that little thing called defit that, you know, yeah, we don't talk about defit here because it's okay to defit because there's nothing I have to do about it. But, you know, when it comes to competitive integrity for an esport, we're at the very bottom of the list because we don't really have a lot of competitive integrity. Yeah. But, yes, I'm going to do my best to give you a lot of things that might work for the Weather Cup. But before we get started, this is going to be my therapist mental health today. As usual, y'all can skip this by going 2 minutes ahead of the video, or you can use chapters. There's a reason why I put chapters in the description. And for those of you that are interested, this is called the cycle of anxiety. Why am I putting anxiety? Because Ultra League might make you anxious just because of the fact that not a lot of you have stuff for Ultra League maybe, or it's just you don't do an Ultra League. Fun fact, Open Ultra League used to be my biggest breadwinner. It used to be one of the most stable metas of all time until the XLs came in and ruined everything. Like Talonflame. Talonflame flipped that meta super hard. And then when things like Jellicent and everything else just became absolute freaking chaos, and Registeel XL got freaking Red Step Cannon, the whole balance of just Open Ultra League just turned into absolute garbage. Anyways, for anxiety, this is the cycle of anxiety. So I use a lot, when I talk to my clients, I use anxiety as kind of like, there's this like treadmill. So the cycle of anxiety. So it's basically like this never ending cycle that you keep going back into no matter what, until you break that said anxiety cycle. So this worksheet is really great from SitePoint, and it'll give you an illustration of how to manage anxiety, a good view of what that cycle looks like, and how to break down the cycle. So it's everyone can. I'm not impervious to it just because I have incredibly high resilience. I've been anxious at one point. I can get it again, but I'm really dang better at what I do for my anxiety, especially when it comes to go battling, because I'm just not anxious about battling anymore. If I lose, I lose. It's what it is. But you know what? I'm going to give you all sorts of hell before I go down. And without further ado, speaking of hell, let me give you the top 5 teams that I can put together for the Weather Cup. And without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so I'm going to get started with stuff you probably don't have or you might have, and then we're going to go on to the later things, as in like XLs. So what I've noticed in this meta, you can actually make things that aren't XL work. However, that doesn't go over the fact that they're really freaking strong. Specifically, Cradily or Shadow Cradily. Cradily is really freaking good in this meta. It's incredibly safe from it's either going to break shields or it's incredibly safe against a whole bunch of things in this meta. Other than the fact that there's a lot of things that will probably target it and kill it, but outside of that, it can deal a whole bunch of damage, or if it has a potted matchup, it's going to absolutely just wreck shop or break shields. As you see, this is going to be Cradily, Samurott, and Poliwrath. Samurott is your safe switch here. Poliwrath is going to close out. Poliwrath and Samurott do really well against the weaknesses of Cradily, which would be those Blazekins, if you get a Blaziken, or if you get an Aboma Snow. So, yes, I say Aboma Snow. You know, you gotta vote for Aboma. If you didn't vote for Aboma, you don't know. Anyways, as you see, if you put Cradily and Samurott together, you get A's. This team isn't super bulky, and that's usually due to Samurott and Poliwrath. Samurott and Poliwrath aren't super bulky, but as you see, you're gonna cover a whole lot of X's here. Shadow Cradily, and this is why it's so powerful. It's able to do a lot against a lot of the overall meta. Like I mentioned, you can break shields, you can sack in a lead, or you can give up swap and leave it with energy. You can do a bunch of fancy things with Cradily if you have one. In order for you to actually have one, you need a perfect... Well, if you want one that's at max CP, you're going to need a perfect one. Unless you're going for level 51, then you can be a little more fancy. As you see here, it has a very low threat score. With this ABB team, Kingdra is going to be your only problem, but to be honest with you, you aren't going to see many Kingdras in this meta unless your opponent is really ballsy. The reason being is because Kingdra is completely walled by Tapu Fini. Fun fact, I don't actually have one. That's why I'm going to dinner with my friends this weekend and beg all of them, hey, do y'all have Tapu Finis and can you give me one, please? So they have, but I know they raid heavily, I don't. So, you know, I'll take anyone, just use it. But yes, Kingdra is walled by Tapu Fini. With that being said, there's also things like Gyarados, Alola Ninetales. There's a lot of things here that can kill a Kingdra. So you're probably not going to see Kingdras rolling around like no tomorrow. Kingdra isn't, yeah, it's not super great in this meta. And yeah, if you do lock into a Tapu Fini, you're probably just going to cry because it just walls everything you have to have. And one Moonblast will do a heavy amount of damage against you. You lose the lead with this, you safe switch in a Samurath and Poliwrath, break as many shields as you can, and then you close out with Shadow Cradle, or if you just absolutely, or Poliwrath is going to smash, because Poliwrath is one of the best closers for the Weather Cup. Alright, for the next one we have ABA, Tentacruel, Cradle, Safe Switch, and Swampert to close out. Swampert's one of your best budget kicks for this cup. In Ultra League, it's an absolute monster, outside of the fact that you're going to absolutely get smacked by one Grass-type move, but it can still do very well for this cup. Swampert here has Earthquake. You can use Sludge Wave. In fact, I probably prefer that. I'm thinking Sludge Wave is probably going to be a lot better, because with Sludge Wave, you're able to hit Tapu Fini for super effective damage, and it gives you a chance against something like Aboma Snow if you do happen to see one. But the Cradles are why Poliwrath is really freaking strong, is because you're able to absolutely do super effective damage, and Poliwrath is absolutely going to smack down holy crap out of your opponent. So this is why we have two things that could possibly give Poliwrath a problem, or Poliwrath is going smash. But either way, as you see here, Poliwrath does not do well against Tentacruel or Swampert with one shield at least. As you see here, Poliwrath will lose the 1 and the 2 shield against Swampert if you have Earthquake, and that's if you can bait and get Earthquake. As you see here, you need to Earthquake and Hydro Cannon for the dub. So this is assuming your Swampert's at full HP too, so it's still a very dangerous matchup. So don't bank on it. That's all I have to say. But Poliwrath is still incredible. The reason I'm so sold on Poliwrath, because outside of Tapu Fini, this thing is like your best answer to Aboma Snows, and it has Scald with debuff ability. So this is why Poliwrath is rated so high. And that's what you have to be careful for. But as you see, A for coverage, B's across the board, and Poliwrath is going to you have to be careful though, because like I mentioned, if Poliwrath is in the closing against this one, it can give you a hard time, especially if Tentacruel is wiped out. Other than that, grass types can give you an issue too. As you see, Cradle and Swampert don't do well against the Aboma Snow. This is why we have Cradle. This is why we have Cradle. Hopefully, you can break some shields with it, or Tentacruel is able to poison jab down whatever's in the back. So, let's hope. I still don't like this cup. With the only thing, oh yeah, I forgot the stupid big fat San Francisco Ice Walrus. Well, not really Ice Walrus from San Francisco, but you know what I mean? If you go to Pier 39, you can see all those seals that like sit up on the platform. This is why I just call Walrein there, but Walrein and Kingdra are your two worst nightmares. Now, it's not super bad, especially when it comes to Tentacruel. You can try to, you have to be wary of Earthquake, but Walrein is going to give you a little bit of an issue here. Are you going to see a lot in this meta? Maybe, maybe not. This is why Poliwrath is good, because you have Blazikens, you have Poliwraths. Poliwrath's going to run around, so... But that's not denying the fact that Walrein is still good for this cup. But despite that, this team still has a very low threat score. That's if you can actually even build this team. Tentacruel and Cradle both require to be XL. And of course, Swampert's probably the only thing in here that's budget and accessible. But it's still really good in this cup. And for the next team, bring on more XL. We have Lanturn, Cradle, and Blaziken. Lanturn gets walled by grass types. This is why you have two supporting casts in Cradle and Blaziken that could possibly either one, break some shields, or two, Blaziken go and Blaziken. You're going to have Brave Bird with Blaziken. You will literally hit everything to oblivion with Brave Bird, or you're going to Blaze Kick it. Because of the fact Blast Burn takes 40 energy to get to, and you don't need that much damage, one Blaze Kick will do a heavy damage against Aboma. So Aboma Snow does not like Blaziken at all. As you see here, A for coverage, B for safety, B for consistency. Not super bulky. You're not going to find a lot of teams in here with B's or A's for bulk, just because a lot of things in the Weather Cup do so much damage, or they're just glassy in general. But as you see here, this team actually does really freaking well. Grass types are Lanturn's worst nightmare. Yeah, you do neutral damage with Surf, but you know what? Surfs don't do a lot of damage. Plus, Cradle has super effective bullet seeds, and of course it can grass knot you to death. If you lose the lead with Lanturn, you safe switch into Cradily. Hopefully you can take back switch, or Blaziken can get some of an energy lead, and maybe Lanturn can possibly close out. Lanturn's still really good in this cup. It beats a lot of the popular meta leads, as you see here. This is why Swampert is really good. So, I mean, Lanturn, not Swampert. Lanturn, not Swampert. My brain just icked because yes. But yeah, this is why Lanturn's really good, because you beat a whole slew. You beat the Waters, you beat Blaziken, and you even give Ice types a hard time in the 2-shield. But this is why Lanturn is really good for this cup. And that's why this team has a really low freaking threat score of 509. Not one thing will actually beat you outright. So this team is very good just because of the fact that Cradily is good in every position. You can use it as a switch. It can still break shields. And then you can send in Blaziken to farm and Lanturn. Once you take, unless your opponent's running double grass, you take out the grass type, it's likely Lanturn will have an answer against most things in the meta. Likely. Don't put it out there. This cup is really disgusting, but it's, yes, more than on the next teams. Alright, and on the next teams, as you see, Aboma Snow XL, Swampert, Shadow as your safe switch, and Sanchez to close out. Aboma Snow is probably the most accessible SL that a lot of you, including me, have, because Snowbird's been out for a very long time, and I actually got mine way back in the day. I forgot which season is, but I broke in an Aboma Snow team for Open Ultra League. I think it was like season 6 or season 4 or something like that. And I topped it at number 2. So Aboma Snow was the number 2 most powerful team at one point, and I created the dang team, and I know it because it was Aboma Snow, Excavalier, and Cresselia, I think. That was the team. The whole team was literally banked on the fact that you don't see fire Pokemon, and then Talonflame came to Open Ultra League and ruined my plans. So yeah, I'm still pretty salty about that. That's how I know you've spent way too much time on team building and trying to break stuff into pvpoke.com when you've done it consecutively and you still remember which teams you use. Anyways, this team's pretty, again, Aboma Snow is a very good grass type for this. It's probably the best one. It walls Lanturn, will energy ball its way to victory, and it also takes out Cradily with Weather Ball. Shadow's probably a little better, to be honest with you, but it's a lot to ask for when you want a Shadow Aboma Snow. If it covers BC for bulk, not a lot of bulk. Even with Aboma, it's not. Aboma Snow XL is pretty bulky, but it's very dangerous. And like I mentioned, not a lot of things are going to have a B or higher for bulk. However, Aboma Snow is a very good lead. One of the top 10 leads, and this team absolutely loves Lanturn. It will absolutely take it from the face of the earth. If they have Lanturn, you love it and you want to kill it. And Jellicent. If they have a Jellicent, you love to see Jellicent too, or Kingdra. All three of these Pokemon love to see Kingdra as well. So, but overall, the reason I like it a lot is because even though 558 is somewhat of high threat score, it's able to do pretty well for you outside of Poliwrath lead. Well, if you lose the lead in general, it's what it is. You lose the lead with Aboma, you send out Swampert, break as many shields as you can, and hopefully Sandslash and Aboma can close out. As you see, Poliwrath is probably your worst nightmare because of the fact that it's able to dynamic punch you to oblivion, but you can replace Alolan Sandslash with elsewhere, but Alolan Sandslash is actually still pretty dang good for this meta. So the good thing about Sandslash is you're not going to be using Power Snow, you have Shadow Claws. So if you look over here, as long as you have shields, you can possibly, you can try to do your best. That's basically what I say, unless you have Poliwrath. But Poliwrath is also walled against Tapu Fini, so Poliwrath, while it's really good at breaking Cradily as well as taking out things like Blaziken, Walreins, anything with ice, or it can take out Blazikens with Scald, so yes. But again, Aboma Snow is probably the most accessible XL you have. If you want to use it, it's still very good in this cup. But beware, Aboma Snow can get lit on fire, can get punched to death, or it can get lit on fire. You won't see Talonflames in this meta. If someone's using Talonflame, they're insane because the amount of water types you will see, especially XLs, is going to be insane in this cup. And last but not least, we have a budget team for all of you poor souls that are really strapped for Stardust, or you just really don't have those XL components. I try to put this together, try to see if it will work out a little well, and it might do some work. This is a total budget team: Blaziken, Swampert, and Samurai. Blaziken with Brave Bird, you can either Brave Bird your way to victory, or if you catch an Ice Lead, you can possibly just punch it to death. Blaziken does beat Cradily. It also beats most of the ice types. 8-9 can give you a hard time though, but for the most part, Blaziken is able to do a great job by Blaze Kicking, breaking shields, or you can threaten with Brave Bird. Samurai and Swampert are both incredibly powerful switches, and hopefully Swampert 2 shield strat's still pretty dang good, so hopefully that works out in your favor. A for coverage, not a lot of bulk. This team is just pure freaking unhumane amounts of damage, and we're just going to break everything's face. As you see with Blaziken, Blaziken is going to cover your back row against the grass types. Hopefully you see the Aboma Snow in the lead, the Regirocks, Alolan Sunshine, Lapras, A9s, Kingdras, etc. If you see that lead, you're going to do great. Otherwise, you say switch into either Samurai or Swampert. You have choice here if you want to. You can either go into either one, but generally Samurot's probably going to be the better one to safe switch into, because it can break more shields and has better matchups against overall meta, unless you just get... Well, actually, there's really nothing in this meta that outright gives Samurott a hard time. That's why, or not able to threaten shields. That's why it is so good. As you see with the 619, San Francisco, Rey Mysterio. If you know that reference, we can be friends. But this team's only biggest if is Gyarados, Pelipper, and Swanna. Because Lanturns can possibly be running around here, Gyarados might be a good safe switch. Keyword is might. Keyword. Because if you see Tapu Fini, you die. But, as you see here, outside of seeing a flyer, Blaziken can possibly kick out some win cons for you, or if you lose the lead, safe switch into Swampert. So even though this team has a relatively high threat score, their biggest threats on this meta are going to be literally flyers that you may or may not see a lot, just because Lanturns will be running around, and flyers do have their own weaknesses onto this meta, because a lot of the flyers like Pelipper, Gyarados, and Swanna, they don't... Not only do they need an XL to be good, but Gyarados does get walled by Tapu Fini. Tapu Fini does resist everything Gyarados has to throw at you. That's why Tapu Fini is rated so high. But it can still be good, but you're probably not going to see it. Either way, Gyarados can get pressured with Hydro Cannon, and then you can hopefully close out with Blaziken and Samurai, depending on what they have in the back. But outside of these three, this budget team might be able to do very well for you for the Weather Cup. And that's game! Ultra League specific cups are the worst thing to ever happen on the planet. The XLs aren't really super well, no, I'm not gonna lie. They're pretty freaking good in this cup. I am not going to lie. But hopefully you can, it's really bad, because for this week, next week you have Ultra Premier Classic, but the problem is, no matter which cup you go into, whether it be open or whether it be this one, you are stuck facing XLs. You really don't have a choice. So, Weather Cup might be the better of the two, just because even though you're facing XLs in this one, it's definitely not as oppressive as it would be over there. There are things that can kill Cradily. It's just either you have to have you need Blaziken, or you have to have Aboma Snow, or yeah. So it's still a very high cost cup, but which one do you want? Do you want the condensed XL cup, or do you want the anything hold bar, Deoxys defense running around with noodle arms everywhere, already Steel XL is going off like no tomorrow, or the new Cobalion, which everyone thinks that's super really good, but the problem is, you know the problem with Virizion and Cobalion? Yeah, Cobalion, they rate really high, but the problem is all of them died of Talonflame. So Talonflame loves to see you. And Talonflame is everywhere in Open Ultra League. So, yeah, use at your own risk. But I hope y'all enjoyed the video. I'm going to try to make things with Weather Cup work. I don't really care about my ELO right now. It's super early. I'm going to do the best I can. And I like playing around a lot. And yeah, I don't really get super... You know, it's funny. I face people in my ELO that I don't think should be at my ELO. But you know what? They're freaking here. And... God, like I'm facing regional Sylph champions or facing freaking really good people I know, and I'm like, God, man, can y'all just stay away, please? There's a reason why I float at this ELO, so I don't have to be sweaty tryhard. But you know what? I just sweaty tryhard every battle now because it's what it is. It doesn't really matter. But hopefully y'all enjoying Season 12. Hopefully I can give you something in the Weather Cup that's going to work, because you got to pick the lesser of the two evils, and I do believe this is the lesser two evils from my analysis. Do me a huge favor, please like, comment, and subscribe for the YouTube algorithm. I stream on Twitch on Friday through Monday. Monday might change for a bit, but we'll see what happens there. Good luck on your Go Battle sets, and I will see y'all on the next video.
Sister